Hello and welcome to GC 365. This is day 315. I'm Kenna. You may have seen me around here. I'm an intern here at Gold Creek. I serve with Pastor Jordan. Joining me today is my sister Rylan.
Hi.
She's a freshman in high school and she just started serving in the kids zone with Pastor Liz. How do you like that?
I like it a lot. The kids are very entertaining. It's very funny to me.
What's your favorite part about serving with the little kids?
Worship.
Worship? You
Yeah.
like dancing around with them?
Yeah.
Yeah, so before we get started, today is Veterans Day, and so I would like to say thank you to everybody who has served our country and just put yourself out there and just gave us honor to us
Yeah.
yeah. It was a short devo today. We read Ezekiel 23, Hebrews chapter 10, 18 through 39, Psalms 109, 1 through 31. Just to get started, the book of Ezekiel is all about God's judgment. And in this book, Ezekiel is continuing to talk about God's judgment using an allegory. He is comparing the northern and southern kingdoms. The kingdom of Jerusalem thought that they were better than the kingdom of Samaria. God called both these cities prostitutes and murderers because they worshipped other idols and they just decided not to follow God. Aholah in Ezekiel is considered Samaria and Aholabah is Jerusalem. Aholah is considered the older sister and Aholabah followed after her older sister's footsteps. So Jerusalem followed Samaria and in the going after other idols, and they were both going down the wrong path. And since you have such influence as sisters, that's what happened. And to be honest, I didn't even read the day before I asked my sister to do a GC 365 with me. So it was kind of a coincidence that we were talking about sisters. But you are a pastor in training kid or a pit kid.
Pit.
And have you ever done anything like this before?
Like what?
Like a podcast?
No, I haven't.
No, so this is your first one?
I mean, I have kind of, like, we've went in another room and recorded ourselves, but it wasn't posted anywhere.
Yeah, but you've also been on main stage with Pastor Dan.
Oh, that's true. That was years ago, though.
It was a long time ago. So one verse in Ezekiel that stuck out to me was verse 28, and it says, "For this is what the sovereign Lord says, I will surely hand you over to your enemies, to those who loathe you and those you rejected." God gave these two kingdoms many chances for what was right, and each time they rejected God and it led them to their punishment. Alongside verse 28, verse 35 says, "And because you have forgotten me and turned your back on me, this is what the sovereign Lord says, you must bear the consequences of your lewdness and prostitution." God made an example out of these two sister kingdoms, like, because they went down the wrong path. He wanted to make an example out of them and be able for us to learn from their mistakes. Moving on to the book of Hebrews, the author of Hebrews is talking about the superiority of faith and how we're able to grow our faith, grow our relationship in God, and overcome doubts and questions. A verse that stuck out to me was verses 24 and 25, which are, "Let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good work, and not let us neglect our meeting together as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now that the day of his return is drawing near." God calls us to be encouraging to others and be like him. Jesus is a great example of how we are called to love and motivate others. The author of Hebrews points out that the people who turn away from God fall into their own destruction, but the people who stay faithful to God to be saved. What was the most interesting verse that stuck out to you in Hebrews?
It was the exact same verse.
It was the same verse?
I highlighted it.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I just think that I can relate to that most in the world today.
Yeah, like how for me, I start my day out with worship music and I start my day out with the Bible, and that honestly makes me feel like happy and it puts me in a good mood. And like a day where I forget that, I'm kind of just like, I kind of feel uneasy and I feel like I'm forgetting something. And so like being faithful to God, knowing that I'll be saved is just kind of like a comfort thing. In Psalms 109, It is a call for God to judge the wicked. David was asking God to be swift in his promise to judge evil people. David was not about to take vengeance into his own hand. He was going to leave it to God, and he was going to stay strong in his faith for the Lord. I think that that's an always good thing to remember, that even if people are like slandering us for what we believe in, and like, you know, in today's culture, it's a very cancel culture. And if you like are strong about your faith and you're very outward with it, you're going to get like hate for it. But God will bless us for keeping our faith strong. Do you agree?
Yeah. Even though there are like very terrible, terrible people in the world, we're called to trust God in keeping us safe and accountable.
Yeah. So that concludes our GC 365 today. I hope that everybody's having or had a good day, and we'll see you next time.